Aviation is supposed to be the safest way to travel, and statistically, it is. But every now and then, a plane takes off and simply stops existing. No distress call, no wreckage, no radar return, just gone. Today we're going through 10 aircraft that vanished and were never found. Not wreckage identified years later, not mystery solved, never found. Let's get into it. In 1934, Australian aviator Charles Ulm was one of the most famous pilots in the world. He had co-piloted the first trans-Pacific flight from America to Australia. On December 3rd, he took off from Oakland, California in a twin-engine plane called the Stella Australis, heading for Hawaii. 3 people on board, fuel for 18 hours, routine radio contact for the first few hours. Then, silence. The search lasted over a week. Ships and aircraft scoured the Pacific between California and Hawaii. Nothing. Ulm was 37, and the Stella Australis was never found. It's as if it flew off the edge of the earth. The most popular band leader of the big band era. In the Mood. Moonlight Serenade, the defining sound of the World War II era America. In 1944, Miller was a major in the U.S. Army Air Forces. On December 15th, he boarded a military aircraft in southern England, heading to Paris to arrange a Christmas concert for the troops. The flight crossed the English Channel. The plane never arrived. A search found nothing. The official explanation is weather or mechanical failure, but alternative theories have persisted for 80 years, including the claim that Miller's plane was accidentally hit by friendly fire. Bombers returning from an aborted mission reportedly jettisoned their bombs over the channel, and some researchers believe one may have struck Miller's aircraft. The most famous musician in America walked onto a plane and disappeared so completely that his aircraft has never been located. In January 1948, a British South American Airways plane called the Star Tiger was flying from Azores to Bermuda. 29 people on board, radio contact was normal, the crew reported that they were approaching Bermuda, and then nothing. The search covered 250,000 square miles, but still nothing. Now here is where it gets genuinely strange. Almost exactly 1 year later, in January 1949, another British South American Airways plane, the same aircraft type, took off from Bermuda heading for Kingston, Jamaica. Its name was the Star Ariel. 20 people on board. The crew sent a routine radio message reporting good weather, and then silence. The plane never arrived. Again, no distress call, no wreckage. The same airline, the same aircraft type, the same area, 1 year apart. Both planes vanished without sending a single distress signal. Apparently, the Bermuda Triangle earned its reputation for a reason. On March 16, 1962, a military charter flight took off from Guam heading for the Philippines. On board were 11 crew and 96 military passengers, 93 of them U.S. Army soldiers, 107 people total. The flight was operated under contract with the Military Air Transport Service, by some accounts part of a classified operation. The crew made routine radio contact, everything was normal, and then the plane disappeared from radar. The search involved the U.S. Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard over 200,000 square miles, but after 8 days, it was called off. A tanker ship reported seeing a bright flash in the sky at approximately the time the plane would have been overhead. That report produced no wreckage. The military context has led to decades of speculation that the plane was carrying something it shouldn't have, or that it was shot down. The full details remain partially classified. On January 30th, 1979, a Boeing 707 cargo flight took off from Tokyo, heading for Rio de Janeiro. 6 crew, no passengers. The cargo was 153 paintings valued at approximately $1.2 million. About 30 minutes after takeoff, the aircraft disappeared from radar. No distress call, the weather was clear, the search lasted over a week, but nothing. A Boeing 707, a large 4-engine jet, vanished without a trace. The investigation concluded the most likely cause was sudden depressurization that incapacitated the crew. But that's a theory, not an explanation. No wreckage means no evidence. No evidence means no conclusion. 6 people and $1 million in artwork simply ceased to exist somewhere over the Pacific. You know the name. In 1937, she was the most famous female aviator in the world, attempting attempting to become the first woman to fly around the globe. On July 2nd, Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan took off from New Guinea, headed for Howland Island, a tiny speck of land in the Central Pacific, 2,500 miles away. Earhart made routine radio contact for several hours. Then, as she approached Howland, her messages became frantic. Low on fuel, couldn't find the island, then silence. The search was one of the largest in naval history, over 250,000 square miles, but nothing. In the 88 years since, multiple expeditions have searched the waters around Howland Island, and none of them found the plane. The most famous disappearance in aviation history, and after 88 years and dozens of expeditions, the plane has never been found. Maybe we're looking in the wrong place, or maybe the ocean is very, very big and we are very, very small. The White Bird. In May 1927, two French war heroes, Charles Nungesser and Francois Colli, attempted a non-stop transatlantic flight from Paris to New York. They were racing to beat Charles Lindbergh. Nungesser was one of France's most decorated fighter aces. Colli was a veteran pilot who had lost an eye in combat. On May 8th, 2 weeks before Lindbergh's flight, they took off from Paris in a biplane. A crowd of 10,000 people watched them go. They were seen crossing the coast of Normandy, then seen by a naval ship over the Atlantic, and then nothing. The plane never arrived in New York. The French government launched a massive search, but nothing was found. Two of France's most decorated war heroes flew out over the ocean and were never seen again. 2 weeks later, Lindbergh landed in Paris and became the most famous aviator in history. On August 16, 1927, a pineapple magnate named James Dole offered $25,000 to the first plane to fly from Oakland, California to Honolulu. 2,400 miles of open ocean. 4 planes entered, 3 never arrived. The Golden Eagle, 2 pilots, vanished. The Miss Doran, 3 people on board, including a 22-year-old passenger named Mildred Doran, vanished. The Dallas Spirit, 2 pilots who had entered the race specifically to search for the other 2 missing planes, it took off, reported seeing nothing, and then vanished as well. 3 planes, 9 people gone in a single day. The search involved Navy ships and aircraft, but no wreckage was found from any of the 3. The one plane that did complete the race, the Woolaroc, landed in Hawaii after 26 hours. 3 aircraft entered a race across the Pacific, and none of them were ever seen again. On December 5th, 1945, 5 Navy torpedo bombers took off from Florida on a routine training flight. 14 airmen. About 90 minutes in, the flight leader reported his compass had malfunctioned. He said the ocean didn't look right. He was unsure of his position. The other pilots followed him, as they were trained to do. Radio operators on land could hear the transmissions but couldn't reach the flight. The planes were heard discussing fuel, they knew they were running low, and then silence. The Navy launched a search immediately. A rescue flying boat with 13 crew took off to find them. It was seen by a merchant ship to explode in midair shortly after takeoff. That plane was never found either. 6 aircraft, 27 men gone. The official report stated, "We are not able to even make a good guess as to what happened." No confirmed wreckage from Flight 19 has ever been recovered, the incident that launched the legend of the Bermuda Triangle. On March 8, 2014, a Boeing 777 took off from Kuala Lumpur heading for Beijing. 239 people on board. About 40 minutes after takeoff, the transponder was switched off. The plane disappeared from civilian radar. But military radar tracked it, turning west, crossing the Malay Peninsula and flying out over the Indian Ocean. It flew for approximately 7 hours after losing contact, and then it was gone. The search was the largest and most expensive in aviation history. 26 countries, dozens of ships, underwater autonomous vehicles scanning the ocean floor. In 2015, a wing component washed up on an island, confirmed to be from MH370. Several more small pieces of debris washed up over the following years, but the main wreckage, the fuselage, the flight data recorder, the cockpit voice recorder, has never been found. In 2024, a new search was launched based on new analysis. It concluded in January 2026 with no findings.